Okay.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
Rhoda,
Spoiler alert.
there might be some spoilers.
I don't want to ruin anyone's night or anything, but there's a spoiler coming up.
Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another attempt here at a movie club. This time you'll notice we've got another person joining us. I actually don't know which direction to point because I don't know where the cameras will be later. So, somewhere on this overlay, you're going to see a wonderful lady clad in tattoos and purple hair. Her name is Harona. She's made a lot of the emotes for BaseTradeTV, and you've probably heard us mention her at least once or twice. So quick howdy do, and I guess introduce yourself, Harona.
Howdy! Yeah, I'm just Harona. I'm usually known on Twitch as a WoW streamer. Other than that, I play sometimes Daisy, CSGO, League of Legends. I also do a lot of arts and crafts, and sometimes it's contemporary arts and crafts. Sometimes we're drawing a lot of dicks, and then we have to quickly erase it so we don't get banned. But other than that, just hanging out. I do a lot of art for people on Twitch too, so that's where most people know me from.
Quick shout out to the art streams because my favorite one was, I think it was one of your first ones with the paper plate, and you just like got mad and threw it in the garbage. Like, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
At any rate, you guys also know the other lovely lady joining us, Zombie Grub. Hey, Zombie Grub.
Hello.
So this week, we chose to watch a movie called Old Boy. Now, there is a remake of this. We didn't watch the newer version. We watched the original version from 2003. And I guess we'll go around in a circle and quickly just give our initial thoughts. Last week, we used the Zombie Grub thumbs up meter for stars. What are we going to use this week? We got Harona here. We could go with cats. 5 cats out of 5. Ding, 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 ding.
Can they all be my cats? Like pictures of my cats?
If you send them to me to edit in afterwards, absolutely. Alright, so I guess for me really quick, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 5 for cats. It was a very interesting movie, but a very weird movie. I'm
going to give it close to like a 4.5. There was a lot of cinematography styles that I like. The post-production wasn't, I don't think, as top-notch as it could have been. But I like the weird, quirky stories and like weird perspectives, and they kind of make you kind of question whether or not you should be watching it.
I'm gonna give this 2 cats. Like the worst cats too.
Womp womp. So to make it like Ziggy and someone else.
Yeah, Ziggy the butt and like the one you never see.
For me, I'll say I actually agree with some of the points on Harona, and that's why I was really stuck in the middle. I didn't love the story per se, but I did love the weird parts of the story. Personally, I found the movie, the pacing was a little bit strange. Like trying to follow from point A to B was actually more like A to C back to B, and the ending didn't. It caught me off guard a little bit. Zombie Grub said she saw it coming, but I sat there going like, just what the fuck?
Yeah, so I thought there's tone changes in it that I guess like some people are gonna like, but they just threw me off and it was kind of weird. And there was a lot of just like really cheap tropes, I guess. I don't know if you're supposed to use that word or whatever, but I didn't really appreciate some of the story elements. When like he finds that chick and like they end up like being like the love interest or whatever, and he's like asking her, I guess, about his family or whatever, I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna be the daughter. Like, this is so fucking obvious. And that's what happened. So I just saw that coming a mile away. And the only thing that I even really liked about that movie was the fight scenes. They actually reminded me of Daredevil.
The fight scenes were really good. That one fight scene in the hallway where it was him versus like 12 guys, that was so cool.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Daredevil.
It was sloppy. It's kind of sloppy and almost like they kind of had it choreographed. But I mean, they had to, at least to some extent. But there was like some goofy like falling around and like missed punches that were totally like just they were throwing shit around.
Yeah, it felt like a real fight, and one that was like all the more tense because of it, I guess. And then
like,
it's so funny though, because he like they're all out of breath after like a minute, right? Because that's what would happen in a real fight. And it looks like kind of funny and whatnot. But then like it's realistic, and he sees like the 20 guys in the elevator, and he like smiles, and then he just like beats them all.
Just cuts,
I'm like,
quick cut.
oh, like I'm very realistic to very like Super Saiyan 4.
But yeah, I really like that element of it. It helped with a lot of the weird goofiness that was like Desu, or however you say his name's character in the first place. Like, he was a weirder guy, and even through all that weird shit he was put through, I mean, like, the first thing he wanted to do when he escaped wasn't take this girl and start making out with her. It was, I want to eat a live animal. Like, he was just a weird guy. So I love that. Like, that quick cut to the elevator, I thought that fit so perfectly for, like, who the main character was. Also, fighting with a knife in his back for half that fight, by the way.
Yeah,
Although,
cool.
I will say my favorite part of the fight, more funny for me personally than the elevator cut, was when one of the henchmen was like, ah, fuck it, and just starts throwing pieces of the bat at him. Like, they're just, they're so done.
Yeah, I don't know. I anticipated him pulling the knife out of his back and just, like, being ridiculous and, like, doing something about it. But he was, like, tired and falling around and getting slapped around and tripping over people, and I don't know. I like it because it almost seemed like it was being done in one take.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was essentially done one take, but there's actually something interesting about that, too, just the fighting. I don't know if you guys ever heard, there's another movie out there kind of famous called The Raid, or The Raid 2, more importantly, and I'm not sure if this is something that's just not, like, it's not a North American media thing, but a lot of these Korean fights or, like, Asian fights tend to have one of the people using a hammer. So I thought that was actually really cool looking at Oldboy, because it's an older movie where he comes to the fight with a hammer. That's his weapon of choice, not a blade, not a sword, not a gun. And I've seen a couple other movies since then that are much newer, and again, they do really cool things where the main character or the good guy or whoever is like fighting with two hammers and like going nuts and ham. So that was really interesting to see that hammer as a bit of a throwback, since this is an older movie. There was a point of the story too towards the end, like, I really, even with this sort of what the fuck thing where he ended up having sex with his own daughter and you start realizing the real reason this guy had imprisoned him for all these years, the one thing that kind of caught me though was like, and I don't like, it almost fits the story too well to remove, but when he was, I guess the evil bad guy is revealing everything, he's like, you thought you forgot because we hypnotized you, really you just simply forgot. I was kind of like, well, that's a bit lame. Like, you had this going pretty well up to that line.
I thought that was actually kind of, like, cool. Like, it really hit home that... I don't know. Well, you say something. You go.
Well, I kind of... Okay, so... And this might just be a bit of my ignorance, and in just watching, like, I don't know, Japanese and Korean and, like, Chinese, like, action flicks. Like, I like kung fu movies. I like really weird, dark stuff that they make, and then just, like, you know, reading, is it manga? I don't know, comic books?
Mango.
Please don't kill me. Mangoes? Well, I read the mangoes, and so they always have, like, these weird little quips with, like, the protagonist and the antagonist will say some kind of, like, weird thing, like, and that's why I always borrow butter from your mom every Tuesday. And I'm like, that has to be deep somewhere, right? That's really going to mean something. No, it doesn't. It's just something. And I'm like, well, maybe it's a cultural thing that I just don't get. And so, like, the little, like, no, you just forgot. I thought it was just like, I'm like, okay, maybe I must have. I also watched this when I was at work while I was working.
Oh, nice.
So I was just like, I'm working, but not really. It was bad. But I don't know. I thought, never mind. Just go ahead.
I was gonna go with, like, I thought it was cool because it really showed how, like, insignificant it actually was overall to the main character, and, like, you would totally understand that he would not remember that. Like, it was a rumor that you started in high school that apparently you didn't even know really spread, and it spread. I was a little confused if it spread incorrectly or not, because his friend said that she was a slut, but didn't mention anything about sleeping with her brother. But then apparently the entire school knew, and that's why she committed suicide. So.
And she got, like, pregnant, but not really. Like, that was another thing. Like,
yeah.
Well, that was, like, the nod to him. Like, well, like, remember that guy that he chipped his teeth out with a hammer? Spoiler alert, sorry. Spoiler alert.
No, we already did spoiler alert. It's all good.
Okay, cool. All right, so, you know, and that guy has him back in his room, and now he's getting his revenge on him, and he's explaining to him that, you know, just don't imagine anything. When you imagine something, then it becomes real.
Yeah, I didn't think
and so
about
he
that.
tells him, you know, as he's about to chip his teeth out, that, you know, don't imagine it. And so later, I thought that was a connection of, you know, the guy saying, like, you know, because she imagined herself getting pregnant, she then got this belly because she imagined it, and so she manifested it. And I'm just like, okay.
That's actually really
like,
good foreshadowing that I totally missed.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
It's a good call. So that actually reminds me of another thing that I was confused about. Who the fuck was that guy with the puppy?
Yeah, that really, It was a surprisingly insignificant event. For those who maybe didn't follow the movie all the way through, or you're just like, what the fuck? I guess it was kind of interesting. I really like that he comes out and he meets a guy who has no connection to this at all. It's actually just some random dude committing suicide on the roof. And the puppy bit was kind of cute and sad because he's like clinging to a puppy and this guy's life is terrible. And he listens to this guy's story and then basically just like walks away and doesn't let the guy tell his story. So of course he's feeling miserable. He's going to jump. But he says that one line that comes back right at the end of the movie where he's like, I may not be better than a beast, but don't I at least deserve the right to live? And you think nothing of this. It really, the whole movie, that was not an important moment at all. It was weird. You know, he takes the glasses from the lady in the elevator, whatever, goes about his business. And then the very end, you have that line come back. And I really like that, actually, because they didn't make that out to be a big deal, but it kind of was. Because she says, like, it was the last line in your letter that got me.
I was just really confused why that guy was on the top. If he was just a random guy committing suicide, cool, I guess. But, like, literally, he had, like, a suitcase dropped off.
Ooh.
And he was just like, still gonna commit suicide, like, go on about my day.
Well, I mean, his life was terrible, it didn't matter. But that was actually something really cool.
And he killed the dog, though. That's the first thing I messaged you. I was like, I swear to God, if they killed the dog, I'm so angry. And they did.
Well, you don't know. He, like, bounced.
No!
Maybe...
Oh my God, that dog definitely died.
I actually want to talk about something for this scene, though, that Harona had mentioned with what she liked for the movie, and that is the cinematography. And there's a couple of moments like this in the movie I really enjoyed. This was the first one where he lies down on the bed being hypnotized, and she says, you'll look to your right, you'll look down, there'll be a field of grass, and it actually pans over to the roof of the grass. Like, that was the sickest transition. I really like that. And they did that a couple more times in the movie, but that one was, like, the big standout one, and that was really cool to see.
So, like, I'm seeing some, like, I'm thinking, right? And it feels like a movie that had a good director, but the storyline was so weird and, like, mishmashed, and I didn't really enjoy it. And the dialogue, as far as it was translated, didn't seem that golden either, most of the time. But that could have been a translation thing. But it tried so hard to be all these, like, cool, like, oh my God, what am I thinking? Like, blow my mind, and, like, you know, all these, like, far-fetched thoughts. That's exactly what happens to, like, Miyazaki films, and I fucking hate Miyazaki films. So I see a resemblance.
Well, I mean, see, that's what I was talking about with the cultural thing, where I'm like, it has to be some kind of, and it's like a constant, so I've just chalked it up. I'm like, I'm just an ignorant person from the States or something. That
I love Satoshi Kon, though, who is another Japanese anime director, because his stuff is so fucking weird and funny. But I feel like it actually hits home, where, like, the Miyazaki and an Old Boy, I feel like they tried so hard, and then I just felt like they were tryhards. I didn't feel like I was actually touched.
Let me ask you this then, because there were elements of the story that were definitely rushed. The love angle and all these other things, because they had a limited time. It's a movie. Do you think you would have liked this any better had it been drawn out and fleshed out more through, say, like a mini-series instead of like just a one-off movie then?
Maybe.
Because, I mean, I agree, like, there's, again, like, I'm on the side of I liked the movie, not that I disliked the movie, even though I kind of picked the most neutral 3 out of 5 score, but I definitely think there was elements that were way too rushed, the love story being one of them. I mean, how do you fall in love in 3 nights? The girls just, like...
They were hypnotized?
Well, I know they were hypnotized, but even then, still, like, there's a lot of elements where it was rushed really quickly. He's like, you've got 5 days to find out what's going on. Like, you know, things like that, where maybe if it was fleshed out a little more, you could see it being cooler or more thought out, I guess. But I really did like the movie. It was so weird. It was a really weird movie.
The other thing besides the action sequence that I liked is I actually ended up liking the villain. I thought that actor was pretty spot on with being that guy. The weird fucked up cool guy.
Yeah, when he pulls out the thing with when he gets caught, right? And you think, like, how's he gonna get out of the situation? Because Desu's got him, like, and he mentions the thing about the heart, the pacemaker. It's like, I got this button to turn it off, so what are you gonna do? Like, too fucking bad. Like, he was such a good, like, kept it calm and cool and kind of crazy without showing crazy.
Yeah, or like when he blew his, like, henchman's head off, and he just, like, that was, like, his plan, and he was like, he was cool with it afterwards, just washed it off. I was like, damn.
I like towards the end of the final confrontation between them, and, like, you know, they come up into the room, and he just walks by, and, you know, the main character, like, breaks the toothbrush and starts, like, stabbing his henchman in the neck, and he just, like, trots off and like takes off his clothes and
gonna
like
get in the
takes
shower.
a shower in his glass shower in the middle of his room. And then, you know, and he's all like fighting everyone and stabbing, and there's people and there's blood and all this stuff. And he comes out and he's like butt ass naked and he has a tramp stamp. And I'm just like, I want to be that level of like villain. Like
He had a wardrobe that was like this fucking cube.
It like came from like the middle.
separated.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn,
He was
son.
so classy and well dressed, and I'm like, man, you sister fucker.
Here's
Why do
the
all
weird
like
thing.
the weird ones have to look good?
Yeah, where all the sister fucks have to look good, you know, like Jamie Lannister and this guy.
Right?
Anyways.
Oh, like
Shit, I'm at a point. I forgot.
I know
Zombie
you get
gov guy.
distracted. The sister fuckers. You're just like, where do I measure up?
Getting too
We're not
hot in
even
here.
related. I
Oh.
don't even have a chance.
Okay, so here's the one thing though, like, and this is only going to be, I guess, important or whatever you want to say to the people that watch Korean dramas, or I guess like any Asian dramas in general. So I've actually been very curious lately watching all my like K-dramas and stuff. Like, is sex like really a forbidden topic, or am I just watching like love stories and they're just really, really, really PG? Because even like American love stories have like, you know, a lot of casual sex. And so I just chalked up to like that's the Korean society to actually see a movie where finally like sex is actually like in it, first of all, and it's actually kind of like messed up themes too. And there's even like incest, and you have the rich, handsome millionaire who is actually a bad person as opposed to a spoiled brat that the love interest like brings him out and makes him a good person. To actually have him as like a truly evil guy, I was like, finally. Thank God. This is a lot cooler. It's a lot more interesting.
I think that's why I found him so attractive. I'm like, oh, you're like almost perfect, except for the part where you fuck your sister.
Oh,
do you
nice.
wish you had a really handsome brother that would?
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm adopted. Don't say that. Who knows? The scene where he's, you know, reflecting on the whole scenario, and he's looking through the broken glass, the little peephole in the broken glass, and you know, and they're fooling around, and he's taking pictures, and then he takes her underwear off, and she's like, no, and hits him. Like,
She's playing
I'm
hard
like,
to get, man.
I'm like, well,
It's-
no means no. And he keeps going, and I'm like, she's gonna kill him, right? Like, she's gonna like, yeah, and like, no.
Yeah.
And so he keeps going, and she's like, stop it, and like, hits him again. And she's like, stop. And then, but he keeps going. I'm like, oh, so I guess that's how you play hard to get. And it's
Yeah.
not, okay, it's not like a reflection of who I am, but like, I don't know, no means no.
Right? No, I'm actually on board with that. Like,
Yeah.
if you get slapped once, but you keep going, like, okay, you're feisty. But like twice, you're like, okay, maybe calm down a little bit. Also, how weird was it that she brought out a mirror
Right. Okay,
during
that's what I was
sex?
gonna
She's
say.
like, I gotta
She's
look at
just
my
like,
face right now.
About?
Or she's like, tit, and
Take
she's
a
like, yeah, that's a
selfie.
good tit. But she's like, my makeup looks good. And then she like, it could be. I'm sending a really weird
Also,
snap right now.
I was thinking about it too. For them to have angled the mirror in a way to see him in the peephole behind them, she had to basically turn that mirror around. And like, why are you doing like, like the weirdest fucking angle for that mirror just to see him?
I don't.
It's true.
Who gets their tits sucked and it's just like, ooh, what's going on out that beer, like, or the window?
I'm so bored. I'm curious what else is going on as we start scrolling through like Imgur or Reddit and shit. Like,
He only put it in there
Yeah.
just so that later on the symmetry when the brother is telling the story could happen when he's looking at the mirror.
yeah. Actually, I want to say this too. Like as we start, I guess because we're kind of linearly going through the movie. I really thought it was cool. It came out of nowhere, but when he's on the elevator going down after like, you know, getting away with it all, and he has the flashback to his sister, and they like cut him now versus him like back then, like that was really well done. Again, just like a thing where it wasn't the story or the actor, like that was just the I don't know, the director, the cinematography, whatever you want to call it. Like that was really another moment where I was like, this is what's keeping the movie for me like as a higher score rather than like a negative score.
That was a cool part. Also, I remember what I wanted to bring up before the sister fucking thing happened. It blew my mind that they're both the same age. Because that's what you figured out, right? They're both the same age. The main character and the evil guy.
So yeah, I kind of had that moment too when I remember when they're doing the flashback, and I'm like, wait, these guys went to high school together. But
Yeah.
then it's kind of like, well, one guy got to live this life of luxury where he's probably got fucking face masks and cucumbers on his eyes every night, and one is literally imprisoned for 15 years.
He says, though, in his, internal monologue at the beginning, that something about the room or something like that puts wrinkles on a man's face.
Yeah.
Like, he says that.
Well,
so, like, and I get that it's kind of like building these, like, building blocks to, like, explain why they would look different. But yeah, I mean, the life of luxury versus, like, living in a, like, 10 by 10 room for 15 years.
Because he was a lot uglier and a lot older looking even before he was in the room, let's be honest. Like, the first 10 minutes of the movie, he looked a lot older than I guess he actually was.
Well, there's that, but he's introduced as this fucking drunk who obviously has no,
drunk,
like, he probably smokes, yeah, so... It kind of makes sense that he's aged a bit differently than someone who's probably kept up a very healthy lifestyle and been pampered and whatnot.
Yeah, I would actually, like, if the movie went more into the backstory of the villain and how he came to be after his sister died, I guess, I'd actually find that a lot more interesting. He's actually by far the most interesting thing about the movie for me.
Yeah! A part of me actually kind of hoped towards the end, when they're hugging and he's holding the gun to both of their heads and he's like about to shoot, I was kind of hoping that he would just actually kill the main character, but like promise to like continue taking care of his daughter. And because in my mind, okay, well, he's the one that had created the original sin, which is incest, right? So maybe, now that he's given out his vengeance on this guy who, fucked up his sister, now and she killed himself, and now, he did this whole thing, and now he fucked him up to get him back, that now to kind of like right the wrong, that he would, put the guy out of his misery, but then like continue being that like that caretaker, like he said he was, like, he paid for her to go become a sushi chef and like take care of her and, do that whole kind of thing, but like do it with like within the shadows, so at least someone was gonna like, I don't know, he'd come out on top.
Yeah, that was it's
maybe
weird.
that's too Disney.
But like as fucked up as a character as he was, there was a lot of redeeming qualities about him, right? Like, yeah, you fuck your sister and you're like literally the villain of this movie, but he did so many like good things. I love the conflict that creates with a character too. It's not so black and white.
I bet if you went back, because there was that time where they started looking through Evergreen, because I guess it's his company. The girl was like Evergreen blank, Evergreen blank, Evergreen blank. I wonder if like all of those were actually like charity or something, right? Like, how good of a guy was this guy outside of his vengeance against the main character? Now
we're doing that reverse Karate Kid thing where we're gonna build. You know what? Daisu was actually the bad guy. He did get his sister killed.
He's actually a good guy. Oh my god.
By the way, like, I gotta say, of all things in this movie that was fucked up, like, there's the story elements and whatnot, the thing that got me most was not even when he cut off his own tongue, or they had, like, the gun to both their heads, but when he, like, ate that cuttlefish or whatever, octopus or squid or whatever live.
I really hope that wasn't real.
He just, like, ripped it off, and he's like, I'm not done.
But, like, no, it had to be, because, like, the tentacles were, like, going all over and, like, it's up his nose, and I'm just like, oh, this is the straight-up grossest thing I've ever seen.
And then, my favorite part, though, and I like that, because that couldn't have been taken all in one take. But like, and then he faints because she touches his hand, and he's laying there, and it's this perfect shot, and there's this one tentacle that's just flipping around outside of his mouth, and it was so perfect. It was good. Sorry.
No, it's really, like, again, there's the zoom out, that's the cinematography coming to effect again. It was really cool to see, but like, yeah, that tentacle, the whole time I'm watching it, squirming in my seat, like, I don't want to see, I'll see blood over this, please. For anyone who watched the full spoilers but still wants to watch the movie, I'd still recommend watching it. If for nothing else, again, it's a nice visual experience. You kind of get to see what is a bit of a... I hesitate to call it old school. 2003 is really not that old school, but again, like that sort of more old school film style opposed to all the stuff you're seeing nowadays where it's all flashy and CGI and quick cuts. You really lose a lot of that really cool stuff. Framing in this movie too was just fantastic with all the characters. Dialogue was always well shot. I mean, it was there wasn't a part of this movie where I was like, you know what, this is an awkward scene or an awkward camera angle. Like, they all had a purpose, they all had a reason. So I would say, if for nothing else, even if the story means nothing or it's too fucking weird for you, watching this movie just because it was beautiful would probably be my recommendation.
It kind of makes me feel like it can, if it's not already, that it can be like a cult classic, because it has enough like weird, quirky, like, it pushes the envelope of what's okay and, you know, puts you on that edge, and it touches into certain taboos that, you know, are, makes some people feel very uncomfortable. There's violence, you know, there's nudity and sex, and I mean, and there's a story in there. And then, you know, in the end, you do still kind of feel conflicted. Like, okay, so who was really like the shittiest person here? Or like, I don't know. I think it can be like a cult classic.
I'm pretty sure
I think it's worth watching. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it already is. But yeah, it's rad.
It's like the #1 recommended Korean movie / foreign movie in
Really?
most places. Yeah.
Old
Boy always comes up. That's why I even knew it existed.
Oh, okay.
I actually ended that movie and said, what a waste of time. So I don't recommend it. And the only redeeming factor was the villain, and he doesn't even really come into it until about halfway through. So, like, consider that, I guess. If the villain sounded cool, you only get, like, half of the movie with him. And, like, a quarter of that is him actually, like, being there longer than 5 minutes, so...
I mean, you get to see him naked a lot.
You do get to see him naked a lot, and he does have a really nice body. He's quite a good-looking man. But,
Surprised you didn't go for the butt right away. Went for the body. Jeez.
I didn't get a good look at his butt. But, anyways.
You see his butt the whole time. It's great.
I saw his tramp stamp. So, yeah, I actually would not suggest it. I would actually just look at, like, the Wikipedia and just be like, oh, that's this twist? Alright. Good game. Unless you're really into all the cinematography stuff that they're talking about. I can enjoy it for sure, and I can enjoy beautiful movies, but I wouldn't call that a beautiful movie, just maybe like a case study for movie majors on cinematography or something. If you're really that interested.
I can see that. I mean, I would be like, I couldn't group it like, you should go see Interstellar. Interstellar is a very beautifully shot movie. It's interesting. You know, keep you interested. And then there's Old Boy, and I don't think you can like. I think it would depend on my audience, like who I'm talking to and who I'm recommending movies to. Because I mean, I'm not gonna go tell my mom to watch this.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like a 2 thumbs up, 1 thumbs down. I guess what it kind of comes down to. Herona, typical East Coast swine can't appreciate good art in movies. Am I right? This zombie girl pig. Ugh.
West Coast, best coast.
West Coast, best coast. Alright, so if you guys like this, make sure to actually hit the like button like cool people do on YouTube, because I guess that's how things work. Let us know your thoughts. Again, this is the 2nd episode. We're trying to bring more people in as we go. If you guys like seeing this sort of stuff from us, I mean, I'd love to continue doing it, but if a lot of you find it to be a waste of time, we'll just go back to doing StarCraft 2 and leave this for the downtime in between. So, again, thanks for watching the video, and I guess really quick for Herona, if people want to learn more about you, where can they find you?
On twitch.tv/Herona, Hirona. I don't even know how to spell
your own name.
Right.
It's a very adult thing to be able to do. So. Herona, let me ask you this actually before we get started with this, okay? Like 100% truth answer here. So no judgment. Okay. Like, which is a weirder scenario for you to consider happening in real life?
Do it.
Okay.
Needing to borrow a cup of sugar from your neighbor, or a classic porn moment where the pizza guy comes with extra sausage and it's his dick in the pizza.
Okay, so what was the original question?
What's more unlikely to happen for you?